Earth had long dreamed of joining the Galactic Council, the powerful organization that governed the many star systems scattered across the galaxy. For years, humanity worked hard to prove its worth. They developed advanced technologies, made diplomatic alliances, and showed their commitment to peace. The day Earth was invited to join the Galactic Council felt like a victory. Humanity's place among the stars seemed secure. But the dream quickly turned into a nightmare. The Galactic Council was not the united, peaceful organization Earth had imagined. It was filled with powerful alien species who cared more about their own interests than the well-being of the galaxy. Earth's delegates had arrived full of hope, eager to engage in trade and share knowledge. The Council had promised that Earth would receive special treatment, access to advanced alien technology, new trade routes, and a place in the galaxy's future. However, things took a turn for the worse when the first trade summit was held. At the summit, Earth was accused of sabotaging a major resource-sharing agreement between the Council's most powerful members. This was a shocking accusation, one that came out of nowhere. Earth had spent years building a reputation as a reliable partner, yet here they were, being accused of espionage and sabotage. The Galactic Council wasted no time. Instead of investigating the matter thoroughly, they chose to punish Earth. Trade routes to and from Earth were blocked, and sanctions were imposed. Earth's economy, which had just started to benefit from their new position among the stars, was suddenly crippled. Access to vital resources was cut off, and the once promising future of intergalactic cooperation seemed bleak. The humans were furious. How could this happen? Why had they been betrayed? Earth's representatives, led by Ambassador Daniel Mercer, sat in stunned silence as the Council made its decision. Ambassador Mercer tried to speak, to defend Earth, but the Council was swift in silencing him. Their decision was final. Earth was accused, Earth was punished, and there was no room for negotiation. Back on Earth, the news of the betrayal spread like wildfire. People were in shock. For years, humanity had worked toward this moment. They had believed in the promise of the Galactic Council, and yet they had been wrong. They felt small, betrayed by the very system they had trusted. But amidst the anger, something else began to grow: determination. The people of Earth, despite being a young species in the vastness of the galaxy, had something no alien race could ever take away: their spirit. In a meeting of the United Nations, the leaders of Earth gathered to discuss what had just happened. President Margaret Lane, a seasoned leader who had witnessed humanity's rise from the ashes of the past, addressed the room. "This is not the end," she said, her voice calm but full of resolve. "They may have betrayed us, but they have underestimated us. We will find a way to fight back." Around the room, leaders nodded in agreement. Earth would not be crushed by this. The Galactic Council thought they could break humanity, but they were wrong. Earth had faced challenges before: wars, natural disasters, political strife, and had always found a way to survive. This time would be no different. While the leaders of Earth debated their next steps, a group of brilliant minds came together in secret. Dr. Elena Hayes, an astrophysicist known for her groundbreaking work in quantum mechanics, was among them. Her mind raced as she thought about the Council's sanctions. There had to be a way to outsmart them, to turn the tables, and show the Council that Earth would not bow to their tyranny. "We've been handed a chance," Dr. Hayes said to her colleagues. "We can't fight them with force, but we have something they don't expect. We have creativity, adaptability, and determination. We'll find a way to use our brains to outsmart them. We'll show them that we are not to be underestimated." And so a plan began to take shape. Earth would not give up its place among the stars. Instead, they would work in the shadows, building alliances with alien species who, like them, had been mistreated by the Council. The first steps had already been taken, but the real challenge was yet to come. Earth was about to show the Galactic Council that humanity, even in its darkest hour, would never give up. After the devastating betrayal by the Galactic Council, Earth's people felt a mix of anger and confusion. But amid the chaos, something extraordinary began to happen. Humanity, always known for its ability to adapt and find solutions, began working in secret. While the rest of the galaxy believed Earth was defeated, a new plan was quietly forming. Dr. Elena Hayes, the brilliant astrophysicist, was one of the first to take action. The Council's sanctions had put Earth in a difficult position, but Elena saw something others had missed. The restrictions on trade weren't just an obstacle, they were an opportunity. She realized that if they could find a way to bypass the Council's power structure, Earth could strike back with force without violence. The first step was understanding the weaknesses in the Council's energy grid. The Galactic Council, despite its vast power, had grown overconfident. They had assumed that humanity, a young species, could never pose a threat. But Elena and her team of scientists quickly discovered a flaw, a gap in the Council's energy network that could be exploited. By manipulating the quantum energy fields that powered the Council's trade routes, they could create a small but significant disruption, enough to create an opening for Earth's ships to slip through undetected. Elena wasn't the only one working tirelessly. Across the globe, countries that had been on the brink of collapse began to find new hope. The world's leaders united in a way that hadn't been seen before. Earth's united front wasn't just a political move, it was a survival strategy. In laboratories, government offices, and secret military bases, humans from all walks of life were coming together, pooling their knowledge and resources. Captain Darius Cole, once a soldier but now a leading strategist, was another key figure in Earth's response. His mind was sharp, and his experience in military tactics gave him the edge needed for the difficult challenges ahead. He had been a part of the failed diplomatic mission, and the sting of betrayal burned deep. But instead of focusing on his anger, he focused on how to turn the tables on the Galactic Council. The more he studied the Council's tactics, the clearer it became that they were underestimating the human spirit. Together, Elena and Darius began to build a team, a coalition of Earth's best and brightest. They knew they couldn't fight the Council with sheer force, but they could outsmart them. They would rely on humanity's greatest strengths: ingenuity, resourcefulness, and determination. And in the shadows, far from the public eye, Earth's finest minds began to work on a plan that could change the course of history. But the challenges they faced were not just technological. The Galactic Council had vast resources, and their fleet of ships patrolled the galaxy, keeping tight control over trade routes. Earth, on the other hand, had only limited access to advanced technology. Yet the very limitations that once seemed like disadvantages began to fuel creativity. Humans had always been good at making do with what they had, and now they would prove it. In an underground lab deep in the mountains, Elena and her team were working on what they called the Quantum Bridge. It was a daring project, designed to create a stable tunnel through space-time, allowing ships to bypass the Council's energy fields undetected. The idea was simple in concept, but incredibly complex in execution. Earth had never created anything like it before, but the scientists were determined to make it work. Meanwhile, Captain Cole focused on building a network of allies. Though the Galactic Council had many powerful species in its ranks, there were also those who had suffered under its rule. Some alien species, frustrated by the Council's strict policies, were already sympathetic to Earth's plight. Cole reached out to these groups, building an underground resistance against the Council. These species had their own grievances, and they were eager to stand with humanity in this fight. The first of these new allies came from a distant star system, home to the Xilians, a species known for their advanced understanding of energy manipulation. The Xilians had long been suppressed by the Council, their resources drained to fuel the Council's massive fleets. When they heard of Earth's plight, they saw an opportunity to strike back at their oppressors. With the Xilians on their side, Earth's plans began to take shape. Together, they would build a fleet of stealth ships, equipped with the technology needed to travel through the Quantum Bridge undetected. This fleet wouldn't rely on brute force. Instead, it would use speed, cunning, and surprise. But while the preparations were underway, Earth's leaders continued to weigh the moral implications of their actions. They could not afford to simply fight fire with fire, as the Galactic Council had done. Humanity had always prided itself on its ability to find peaceful solutions, but peace had been taken away from them. Now, the path to survival would require difficult choices. Dr. Hayes knew that Earth's victory wouldn't be easy, but she was confident in humanity's strength. "We may be small in the grand scheme of things," she said to her team one evening, "but it is our determination that makes us powerful. We'll show the Galactic Council what Earth is truly capable of." With a plan in motion and a growing sense of unity, humanity was ready to make its move. The Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. Earth's revenge wouldn't come in the form of destruction, but in the form of brilliance, collaboration, and resilience. Months had passed since the Galactic Council had betrayed Earth. What had started as a small group of determined individuals working in secret had now turned into a vast network of people, scientists, soldiers, and diplomats, working tirelessly for one common goal: revenge. Dr. Elena Hayes and Captain Darius Cole were ready. They had spent every waking hour perfecting the quantum bridge technology. The device had been designed to allow ships to travel undetected, bypassing the Council's tight energy grid. But it wasn't just about the technology. It was about the message they would send to the Galactic Council. Earth would not be cowed, and humanity would fight back. The first test of the quantum bridge was set to take place in the dead of night, when the skies over Earth were quiet, and the stars were hidden by the dark blanket of space. In a hidden location, deep in the heart of Earth's vast wilderness, a fleet of stealth ships had been assembled. The ships were small, agile, and packed with advanced technology, much of it borrowed from their new Xilian allies. The fleet was ready to make its first move. Captain Cole stood at the front of the fleet, his eyes scanning the control room as his team of pilots prepared for departure. His heart pounded in his chest, not from fear, but from anticipation. The stakes were high. If they succeeded, the Galactic Council would be caught off guard. But if they failed, Earth would be left vulnerable, their plan exposed. "We're doing this for Earth," Cole said to his crew, his voice steady but firm. "For our future. Remember, we don't need to destroy them. We just need to show them that they can't control us anymore." With a simple nod, the team began the final preparations. The quantum bridge device, a strange and powerful machine, hummed to life. Its energy crackled through the air as Elena's team initiated the sequence. As the countdown began, Cole's mind raced. What if something went wrong? What if the technology failed? But he trusted Elena and her team. They had worked for months, perfecting the device. It was now or never. 10 seconds, Elena's voice crackled over the intercom. "We're ready." The countdown ticked down, and as it reached 0, a bright flash filled the control room. The ship shuddered, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then, the stars outside the ship began to blur and shift. The quantum bridge was working. The ship had crossed into another part of space, bypassing the Galactic Council's energy grid. They were in uncharted territory. "Captain, we're through," one of the pilots reported, her voice filled with awe. "We've made it." Cole allowed himself a brief moment of relief. They had done it. They had successfully created a path through the galaxy that the Council didn't know about. They had slipped past the guards, undetected. But this was just the beginning. The fleet moved quickly, heading toward a key Galactic Council station, a central hub where trade and communication were controlled. It was a symbol of the Council's power. The plan wasn't to attack outright. Instead, Earth's fleet would make a bold statement. They would disable the station's communications for a short time, creating chaos, and send a message that the Council could no longer ignore. As the fleet approached the station, Elena's team worked from Earth's underground base, hacking into the station's systems remotely. Their goal was to disrupt the station's communications, making it impossible for the Galactic Council to call for reinforcements or respond quickly. But as they drew closer to the station, something unexpected happened. An alert flashed across Cole's screen. "They know we're here," Cole muttered, his eyes narrowing. "They've detected us." The Galactic Council's ships, far more powerful and numerous than Earth's, were now on the move. They had already sent a squadron to intercept the fleet. "Elena, are we ready?" Cole asked, his voice steady but tense. "We're as ready as we'll ever be," Elena replied. "Initiating the disruption sequence now." A tense silence filled the ship as Elena's team worked to scramble the station's communication signals. Earth's ships moved swiftly, avoiding the larger Council vessels, staying in the shadows as they made their way to the station's core. The first strike was about to begin. Suddenly, the station's lights flickered, then went dark. The communications grid had been disabled. The Galactic Council, now blind and deaf to the actions unfolding in their own hub, was left vulnerable. For a brief moment, the galaxy was in chaos. Captain Cole's heart raced. The fleet had completed the first part of the mission. They had sent a clear message. Earth wasn't just a victim, it was a force to be reckoned with. But their victory was far from assured. The Galactic Council would not take this lightly. They would retaliate, and Earth would have to be ready. "Captain, the Council ships are closing in," one of the pilots warned. "We can't stay here much longer." Cole took a deep breath, his eyes scanning the situation. The fleet needed to leave before the Council retaliated. But their message had been delivered, and Earth had shown that it could strike when necessary. They were no longer a small, helpless planet. They had made their first move. "Prepare for the jump," Cole ordered. "We're heading back to Earth. But this is only the beginning." The fleet vanished into the stars, leaving the Galactic Council to pick up the pieces. Earth had delivered its first strike, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Earth had struck the Galactic Council, but the battle was far from over. The first attack, a brilliant disruption of the Council's communication hub, had sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time, the mighty Galactic Council realized that humanity was not to be underestimated. But they didn't take long to react. As Earth's fleet made its way back to the safety of their home planet, the Galactic Council's response was swift and unforgiving. Their fleets began to mobilize, and their spies quickly spread across the galaxy, searching for any sign of weakness in Earth's defenses. They had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated Earth's determination, and now they were prepared to make humanity pay for their defiance. Captain Darius Cole, standing in the command center of Earth's underground base, felt the weight of what was coming. He had known the Council wouldn't take this lightly. He had expected retaliation, but even he had underestimated how quickly the Council would respond. Their fleets were already en route, and they were targeting Earth directly. "This is just the beginning," Cole muttered under his breath as he surveyed the reports coming in. "They're coming for us." Elena Hayes, the brilliant scientist behind the quantum bridge and the mastermind behind the first strike, stood by his side. She was studying the latest intelligence, trying to find a way to counter the Council's overwhelming military force. "We need to be ready," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "We can't afford to sit back and wait. If they attack, we need a plan to defend ourselves." Cole nodded. Earth had always been a peaceful planet, and they had never expected to go to war, especially against such a powerful force. But things had changed. The attack on the Council's communication hub had made one thing clear: Earth was not weak, and humanity was ready to fight back. As the Council's fleets grew closer, Earth's leaders convened to discuss the next steps. Their resources were limited, and they couldn't afford to go toe-to-toe with the Council's might. But they had something the Council didn't: creativity and ingenuity. And that, they hoped, would be their greatest strength. On Earth's surface, the preparation for the inevitable conflict was taking shape. In every corner of the planet, humans were getting ready. Factories ramped up production, and scientists and engineers worked around the clock to develop new technologies that could give Earth an edge. The Xalians, who had become Earth's allies, shared their knowledge of energy manipulation, and together they worked on creating new weapons and shields that could stand up to the Council's technology. But while the humans were preparing for battle, they were also determined to avoid an all-out war. They didn't want to destroy the galaxy. They just wanted the Council to understand that Earth would no longer be a target. If they were going to survive, they had to prove they could defend themselves, but also show they were not seeking to conquer or destroy. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council's ships were now in orbit around Earth. Their enormous battle cruisers, designed to crush any resistance, loomed like dark shadows in the sky. From their perspective, this was not just about revenge. This was about setting an example. They needed to show the galaxy that humanity could not defy them without consequences. "We have to move fast," Alina said, as she turned to Cole. "If we don't act now, the Council will overrun us before we can strike again." Captain Cole nodded. The fleet of stealth ships that had been used in the first strike was ready, but they couldn't rely on the same tactics again. The Council had learned from their mistakes and was now prepared for any kind of surprise attack. Instead, Cole and Alina decided to use a new approach. Using the quantum bridge, they could create a small but powerful energy pulse that would temporarily disrupt the Council's ships without causing lasting damage. The pulse wouldn't destroy their enemies, but it would disable their technology for a short period of time, buying Earth enough time to strike back and defend their planet. The plan was risky, but it was the best option they had. "We'll need to hit them hard and fast," Cole said. "We don't have the luxury of time." With a sense of urgency, Earth's fleet launched into the skies, moving swiftly toward the Council's ships. The battle was about to begin, but it wasn't a traditional war. Earth's forces, small in number but quick and clever, were about to show the galaxy that a well-placed strategy could make all the difference. As Earth's fleet approached, the energy pulse device was activated. The ships flew in close to the Council's massive cruisers, targeting their most vulnerable systems. In a split second, a burst of energy rippled through space, sending a wave of disruption across the Council's ships. The effects were immediate. The Council's ships, once so proud and powerful, suddenly faltered. Their advanced technology, the same technology that had kept them in control for so long, now failed. Communication systems went down, weapons systems shut off, and the ship's engines sputtered to a halt. For the first time in a long while, the Galactic Council was blind. But Cole and Alina knew this was only a temporary victory. The Council would recover quickly. They couldn't afford to let their guard down. They had won a battle, but the war was far from over. As the energy pulse faded, Cole looked out at the fleet of Council ships, now crippled but still looming in space. "This is far from over," he said, his voice filled with determination. "But we've shown them that Earth is not to be taken lightly. Now, let's make sure they remember that." The battle for Earth had just begun, and humanity's fight for survival was about to take on a new, even greater challenge. The battle against the Galactic Council had taken an unexpected turn. After the success of the energy pulse that disrupted the Council's ships, Earth's forces had gained a brief respite. But Captain Darius Cole knew that the victory was fragile. The Council's advanced fleets would recover, and soon they would be coming after Earth with everything they had. Now, Earth had to decide. Could they continue to fight alone, or was it time to form new alliances? Earth's first strike had been bold, and while it had shaken the Council, it had also left the planet vulnerable. Captain Cole and Dr. Alina Hayes, who had been the heart of Earth's technological revolution, now faced a difficult decision. They needed allies, but who could they trust in a galaxy filled with so many powerful and unpredictable species? The Xilians had been the first to offer their help. Their technology, though different from Earth's, had been invaluable in the development of the quantum bridge. They were a peaceful race, wary of conflict, but deeply loyal to those they considered friends. Still, there were many who questioned whether the Xilians could truly be trusted, given their history of staying out of galactic affairs. Could they really help Earth defend itself? "I know we're risking a lot by relying on them," Elena said as she reviewed the latest intelligence reports. But they've given us a chance, and they've been helpful. We need them. I agree, Captain Cole replied, his voice steady. But if the Xylians aren't enough, we might need more allies. It's time to start reaching out. The decision was made. The leaders of Earth decided to send ambassadors to several distant systems, seeking help from species who might be willing to fight the Galactic Council. It was a risky move, but it was the only option they had. The Council's ships were still on the move, and their next attack could be far worse than anything Earth had faced before. One of the first species they contacted was the Voraxians, a fearsome and proud race known for their strength and advanced weaponry. The Voraxians had a history of isolation, but rumors suggested they were looking for an opportunity to strike back against the Council. If Earth could convince them to join the fight, it could change the entire balance of power. We've made contact with the Voraxians, Elena reported, looking up from her screen. They've agreed to meet, but they want assurances. They're not willing to risk their people without a guarantee of victory. We can offer them one thing the Council can't, Cole said, a plan beginning to form in his mind. Freedom. The Council controls far too many worlds. The Voraxians want independence, and we need their help. Together, we can show the Council that they aren't as invincible as they think. With the Voraxian meeting scheduled, Earth's leaders knew it was just the first of many discussions. Time was running out, and every moment spent in negotiation could be a moment the Galactic Council used to regroup and strike harder. As the days passed, Earth's forces continued to prepare for the worst. New ships were constructed, and Earth's scientists worked day and night to improve their weapons. The Council might have advanced technology, but Earth's people were learning fast. Elena's team had already made strides in adapting the Xylian technology to fit Earth's needs, and the results were promising. But there was one key factor they hadn't anticipated. The Council was getting smarter. Captain Cole received word that the Council had sent a spy ship into the outer system, looking for any sign of weakness. The spy ship had managed to slip past Earth's radar, and it was now gathering intelligence on their defenses. It was only a matter of time before the Council would strike again. We need to act fast, Cole said, his face grim. If we don't stop that spy ship, they'll know exactly what we're planning. Elena nodded, her mind already working on a solution. We'll need to track its signals and find a way to disable its communication system. If we can cut it off from the rest of the Council's fleet, we'll have the advantage. Working together, they devised a plan. Using Earth's growing fleet of stealth ships, they would approach the spy ship quietly and disable its communications without detection. It would be a dangerous mission, but it was their only chance to keep their plans a secret. As the stealth ships prepared to leave, Elena's voice echoed in Cole's earpiece. We've got one shot at this, Darius. If they know what we're up to, we'll lose everything. I know, Cole said, his grip tightening on the controls. But if we succeed, it will give us the time we need to finish our preparations. This is the turning point. The stealth ships, equipped with the latest in Xylian technology, moved quietly through the darkness of space. They approached the spy ship, which was orbiting just outside Earth's system. The plan was simple: disable its communications and then escape before the Council could retaliate. The mission was risky, but Earth had no choice but to take it. If the spy ship succeeded in gathering information, the Council would know about the fragile alliances Earth was forming, and that could spell disaster. As the stealth ships closed in, Captain Cole felt a sense of unease. Every moment counted. He trusted his crew, but the dangers they faced were unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. "This is it," he muttered. "Let's show the galaxy that Earth is not to be underestimated." With that, the fleet closed in on the spy ship, prepared for the battle that would decide the future of Earth. The night sky above Earth had never seemed so vast. As Captain Darius Cole and his team made their way toward the stealth mission to disable the spy ship, a heavy silence had settled over the fleet. The weight of their mission pressed down on them. If they failed, the Galactic Council would know everything. Earth's alliances, their defenses, their weaknesses. The risk was immense, but they had no choice. The stealth ships, outfitted with the best technology Earth had, glided through the void of space, invisible to the eyes of the enemy. Each ship was a marvel of human engineering, blending the raw ingenuity of Earth's scientists with the advanced knowledge provided by their new Xilian allies. The mission was simple: find the Council's spy ship, disable its communication systems, and leave before any alarms were raised. "I've got a lock on the target," said Lieutenant Maria Delgado, the lead pilot of one of the stealth ships. Her voice was calm, but there was a hint of tension behind it. "We're close." Captain Cole stood in the command center of the lead ship, his eyes focused on the holographic display. His mind raced. If they didn't act quickly, the spy ship would transmit everything it had gathered to the Council, and the game would be up. The stakes were higher than ever. "Elena, status on the jamming device?" Cole asked, turning toward the scientist who had been working tirelessly to develop the technology they were now relying on. "Ready," Dr. Elena Hayes replied confidently. "The jamming device is set to disable all communication within a 500-kilometer radius. As soon as we're in range, I'll initiate the sequence. But it has to be quick." Cole nodded. He trusted Elena with his life, and he knew she had thought through every detail of the mission. They had to be swift and precise. The mission was too important to fail. The stealth ships crept closer to the spy ship, their movements silent and calculated. Earth's forces had never faced a more formidable enemy than the Galactic Council. The Council's technology was far more advanced, and their fleets were vast. But Earth's determination, creativity, and willingness to fight for their survival had put them on an equal footing with these galactic giants. "We're almost there," Maria said, her voice steady. "Prepare yourselves." The tension in the ship's command center was palpable. Captain Cole looked around at his crew, seeing the resolve in their eyes. They had all made sacrifices. Earth had no backup, no other choices. They were fighting for their future, for the survival of their home, and for the hope that humanity could stand against the greatest power in the galaxy. Elena activated the jamming device. It hummed quietly, sending a pulse that would block the spy ship's communications. The ship was now cut off from the Council's network, and Earth's fleet had its chance to act. "Initiating now," Elena said, her fingers dancing over the controls. "This will give us a narrow window." The stealth ships closed in. Every eye was trained on the spy ship ahead. It was a large vessel, shaped like a sleek arrow, gliding through space with an air of superiority. It had been monitoring Earth for weeks, gathering information. Now, it was about to be neutralized. "Targets locked," Lieutenant Delgado announced. "We're in position." Captain Cole gave a brief nod. "Do it." In an instant, the pulse from the jamming device struck. The spy ship's communication systems blinked out of existence, its sensors scrambled. The crew inside the ship was likely unaware of what had just happened, and that was exactly the way Cole wanted it. They had successfully neutralized the threat. But the mission wasn't over yet. With the spy ship cut off, the stealth ships needed to make their escape before the enemy realized something was wrong. One mistake, one missed signal, and Earth's entire plan could fall apart. "Ready to disengage," Maria said, her fingers gripping the controls tightly. "We've got a few minutes before they notice." The ships began to retreat slowly, making their way back toward Earth's fleet, but the tension in the air had not yet lifted. The mission had gone off without a hitch so far, but the risks were far from over. Back on Earth, as the team was returning to base, Captain Cole and Elena stood at the bridge of their lead ship, looking out at the dark expanse of space. It was a small victory, but it was a crucial one. They had prevented the Council from knowing what Earth was planning. "We did it," Elena said softly, her relief evident. For now, at least. Cole's gaze remained fixed on the stars ahead. He knew this was only the beginning. The spy ship had been silenced, But the Council would not forget what had happened. Earth had just sent a message to the galaxy, one that the Council could not ignore. "This is far from over," Cole replied, his voice steady but determined. "We've won a small battle, but the war is still ahead. They'll come for us, harder than ever. But now, they know we're not afraid to fight back." Elena nodded. "We're ready. Whatever comes next, we face it together." The fleet made its way back to Earth's defenses, a sense of unity and determination growing among the crew. They had taken a step closer to protecting their world, and the future of humanity now rested on their shoulders. The spy ship had been the first warning sign, but Earth's message to the Council was clear. Humanity would not be easily defeated. The Galactic Council might have vast power, but they had underestimated the strength of a people who would fight for their survival. The news spread like wildfire across Earth. The Galactic Council had been dealt a blow. The spy ship was neutralized, its communications severed, and the Council was left in the dark. It was a victory no one had expected, and yet, the world was buzzing with hope. Captain Darius Cole and his team had returned to Earth after the successful mission. Their fleet landed at a secure military base, where they were greeted with a mix of applause and solemn recognition. Earth had just made its first real stand against the overwhelming power of the Galactic Council, but there was no time for celebrations. The war was far from over. "Captain, you did it," Elena Hayes said, her voice full of pride. "We did it. The Council didn't see it coming." Cole nodded, but his face remained serious. "We've won a battle, Elena, but we've only just begun. The Council won't forget what happened. They'll come after us harder than ever." The next few days were filled with briefings and debriefings. The team had to prepare for the next phase. The Galactic Council would retaliate. They always did. And when they struck back, Earth would need to be ready. Cole stood before a room full of Earth's finest military leaders, strategists, and scientists. His mission was simple: rally the people, unite Earth's forces, and prepare for the inevitable conflict that was coming. The Council would not stop until they had crushed every last resistance. But this time, Earth would not go down without a fight. "We've seen their power," Captain Cole said, his voice steady but resolute. "The Galactic Council may have the fleets, the technology, and the influence, but they don't have what we have. They don't have humanity's will to survive, to fight for our freedom, our homes. This victory wasn't a fluke. It was a sign. We have the strength to push back. And we will." The room was silent for a moment. Then, one by one, the military leaders and scientists nodded. The plan was already in motion. Earth would not just defend itself. It would fight back. It would strike first when necessary. And it would stand firm against the Council's tyranny. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Council was in turmoil. They had lost contact with their spy ship, and worse, the information they had been gathering about Earth was gone. The high-ranking officials within the Council were furious. How could such a small, insignificant planet stand against their power? "We underestimated them," said Councillor Triven, one of the top leaders of the Galactic Council. His voice was cold and calculating. "Earth's people are resourceful, more than we gave them credit for." Another councillor, Zilara, slammed her fist on the table. "That's not the point. We have to crush them now before they get any stronger. This small victory is just the beginning. They've sent a message, and we can't allow that to spread." But Triven raised a hand, his mind already working. "No, we must take a different approach. We can't just attack blindly. We need to learn more about them, their technology, and their new alliances. If they've become this dangerous, we can't afford to make mistakes." Back on Earth, the military was working at full speed. New alliances were forged with races who had long been neutral or even distrustful of humanity. Earth's technology, now enhanced with the help of their Xilian allies, was evolving at a rapid pace. The weapons were stronger, the defenses were smarter, and the humans were more united than ever before. In the months that followed, the Earth fleet grew in strength. New starships were designed and built. Military training programs were intensified. The people of Earth, once divided by petty differences, now stood as one, united by a common cause. The message was clear to the Galactic Council. Earth was not going to be intimidated, not anymore. "We're ready," Captain Cole said, looking at the new fleet before him. "Now it's time to show them who we are. Earth will never kneel to the Galactic Council. We will never back down. If they want a war, they'll get one. But we'll make sure they regret underestimating us." Elena stood beside him, looking at the fleet that had become Earth's symbol of defiance. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore, Darius. We're fighting for a future where humanity can decide its own destiny." Captain Cole nodded. "And we'll win that future." The fleet launched into space, the engines of Earth's greatest ships roaring as they pierced through the stars. It was a new dawn for Earth, one filled with uncertainty, but also with hope. The message had been sent, loud and clear. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. The Galactic Council had underestimated them once, but they would never make that mistake again. As the fleet disappeared into the vastness of space, Earth stood strong. The war was not over, but this time, humanity was ready to fight for its place among the stars.